everybody, and welcome back to a new video. I do have some reading plans, and as it is almost 6 p.m. I thought I would finally get started on this vlog. My hair looks really wet, but I tried some new products that I got at the pharmacy, and mousse is definitely working a lot better in terms of like forming a cast as opposed to gel. So I still need to play around and see what works best. But I'm exporting my vlog right now, and I'm still in the middle of Pieces of Her because I literally closed out the previous vlog like an hour ago. I have 50% of the way through with this. I would like to also start the show on Netflix to see if I might like it more, because so far this is like 2.5, 3 stars. I'm now behind on my Goodreads goal. It's like kind of ambitious, but I feel like it's doable for me to also read these. I have a very, very popular romance book by Emily Henry. I didn't want to quite fall into the hype, but it's very popular, and so I thought, why not? It is like long. It's almost 400 pages, but it's a romance, and I feel like it could be really cute and something to just enjoy but also get through on my Goodreads goal. The second one that I have is the February book club pick for the book troop, or January, I forget because I'm behind, and this is The Silent Woods by Kimi Cunningham Grant. A man named Cooper and his daughter, and they're living basically off the grid in the woods, in the Appalachian woods, because Cooper has a lot to hide, and they have like people who bring them stuff and supplies, but one day that person doesn't show up. They need to figure out like what's going to happen to them. I would like to get to this one. It's called You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thao, and I believe it's a little bit of fantasy or magical realism at least. Julie, she's 17 years old, and she has all these plans for her and her small town boyfriend Sam, but he dies. She ends up not going to his funeral, and she tries to completely like forget about him and deal with her grief in that way, but she misses him and calls his cell phone to hear his voice on the voicemail message recording or whatever it's called, and one day he answers. It says the connection is temporary, but hearing Sam's voice makes Julie fall for him all over again, and with each call it becomes harder to let him go, which also kind of reminds me of The Two Lives of Lydia Bird, which I loved. I thought this would be better than the other one that I had, other YA book that I had, because I had like this hankering to read A Little Life again, which I read 2018 I think, and I'm like worried about myself. I don't know why. Maybe because like everyone's talking about it again, or more people are starting to read it now, and so I thought just to, if I want to be a little bit sad, maybe something like this is better. I might read a book of poetry by Amanda Lovelace that my sister has. My book finally arrived. I had pre-ordered something off of Bookshop. The mailman freaking jammed it into the mailbox, and it was very difficult to get out because it didn't fit. But it's this. This is the Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I'm really excited because I had a decent time with the Sundan Motel, which I gave like I think 4-ish stars, and this is like very true crimey, so I can't wait to read this. Last night I planned to read for an hour, but I just like got so tired from taking a melatonin because I knew that I wouldn't sleep without it on time for like early morning work. And then I slept so early, and I ended up sleeping like 9.5 hours. This whole week I had just been sleeping really terribly, so I'm really glad that I was able to do that. I read a little bit of Karin Slaughter's Pieces of Her, but I did finish Break Your Glass Slippers by Amanda Lovelace, as you saw. I've never read anything by Amanda Lovelace. I've heard of her before. This is my sister's copy. I think she wrote like The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one or something, and I know that was a really popular poetry series, I think. It's very much similar to like Rupi Kaur and Orion Carlotta, who I both really love, but something about this just like didn't do it for me. I believe that this poetry collection is taking after a fairy tale, a very popular one of Cinderella. So it has advice from like a fairy godmother and finding yourself. It has a list of trigger warnings for this, such as child abuse, toxic friendships, toxic relationships, sexual harassment, eating disorders, fat phobia, suicide, trauma. I think that like the message of this is really good, but it just like didn't do it for me, so I'm giving it 2 stars. Okay, I started Pieces of Her. It's like alright. I mean, I'm only 12 minutes into it, but I think I realized something about the book. Like, it took me too long. It was right there why there's flashbacks. I think I know why there's flashbacks in the book. I said I was only gonna watch like an episode today because I wanted to read a lot, but I'm on episode 3 now. I'm figuring out a lot of things. I'm like piecing it together with what I know from the book so far because I'm ahead, I think. I looked up interviews of Karin's daughter talking about the show, and she really likes the show. She appreciates it like being a little bit different because the core of it, the story and the characters are still how she meant for it to be. And she was involved for a little bit of it. She said she binged the whole thing. It is a little bit different, but you know, if Karin Slaughter's okay with it, how can I not be okay with it? But Andy is like so much more fucking annoying, and I think she is a dumb, whiny bitch. Like, you're 30. Fucking shut the fuck up. It's now becoming a pattern where I don't vlog at all on Saturday, as well as don't read, which kind of like relates, but Coda and I actually did something yesterday. Like, we went out and I didn't vlog anything, but just now I finished Pieces of Her by Karin Slaughter. Finally, I could return her to the library, and I'm not really sure what to rate it. It's in between a 2.5 and 3-star read, so probably a 2.75. I mean, I was like kind of interested, but like nothing was really shocking to me, which kind of sucks because the first 3 books that I've read by her I really, really loved, and I'm definitely still am interested in her. I didn't expect to love everything by this author, but I guess it'll be a 2.75. I think I will still watch the show, see if it intrigues me a little bit more. When I get home, I want to start You've Reached Sam. I went to the library and I browsed, but the graphic novel section in my library is not good. It's spread out, like it has a whole bookcase, but I feel like it could just be on one shelf. But then I also realized that one of the books that I borrowed is a graphic novel. I did browse and I found an offer from a gentleman. I borrowed Summer Suns, but I have no idea why. I think somebody was reading this in their vlog, but I don't know who it was, and I believe it's like a mystery. Not really sure. This is the graphic novel. This is Himawari House. Harmony Becker is actually the illustrator of George Takei's graphic memoir, They Called Us Enemy, which I enjoyed. Now goes back to Tokyo to reconnect with her Japanese heritage, and she books a year-long stay at the Himawari share house, and Himawari means sunflower. There she meets Hyejung and Tina, 2 other girls who came to Japan to freely forge their own paths. The trio live together, share meals, and even attend the same Japanese language school, and they become fast friends. It has like Japanese in it, which I thought was really neat. Last night I started You've Reached Sam. I read almost 100 pages and it's already like really good. I'm really enjoying it. Dustin Thao is like a really great for YA so far. I feel like he's getting it, that tone. Usually I feel like the adults who are writing YA are very disconnected with that generation. I wasn't sure when Julie would start talking to Sam, but she already has. They're both confused, which helps, but she just knows that she just wants to keep talking to Sam. Grief is something that I know very well. I can definitely relate to Julie and her emotions of like wanting to deal with it alone, but also like no one is talking to her about it, and not knowing what to say to the people who say like sorry for your loss and stuff like that, even if they're your closest friends. I'm packing up to leave in a little bit, and I already returned You've Reached Sam because I finished it last night on the train home. I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I feel like it was a really great book in terms of talking about grief, but I kind of felt like some of the development as a character, or like they weren't really fleshed out as like real people that I would like to get to know. But I still think like the cover is beautiful and that the conversation about grief was really great. Compared to how Julie and Nika were grieving, really reminded me of how myself and my sister were grieving, so that part hit close to home. I also didn't find it to be as emotional. I thought it would be like way more sad, but I almost cried, like thought about it at the end. And then today, this book is not even 300 pages, but I did start these Silent Woods. I'm only like 50 pages into it, but now I know why they live in the woods. And his daughter, Cooper's daughter, is now 8 years old. She has a lot of questions about why they live in the woods so isolated, and Jake, who brings them supplies every year, has not come. And so he is like getting ready to make a trip out to the world, to Walmart. And I thought this was perfect. It's because the bookmark that I'm using is a quote from My Favorite Murder. It's from the Etsy store Only and Mustard, which I will link if you are a fan. They're based out of the UK. Get a job, buy your own shit, and stay out of the forest. Probably woods is more applicable for this, but still agree, stay out of the forest because shady shit's happening here. I think Scotland, their neighbor, is supposed to seem really sinister, but I feel like it seems too obvious for something to be going on with him, so I'm not sure yet. I did see Gabby's review for this because it is for her book club, and she said it's not really a thriller, a mystery. It's sort of like a daughter and her father bonding sort of book. I'm still interested and intrigued about what happened to Jake, why exactly they're hiding out, and what Scotland might be hiding. Yesterday, I said I started the Silent Woods, and guess what? I finished it on the train ride home. I also learned today when inputting it into Goodreads that first of all, I'm back on track. Thank you very much. It's all right there, baby. The proof is right there. And that second, Kimi Cunningham Grant, this author, is half or of Japanese heritage, and her first or their first book, because I don't know their pronouns, is a memoir about their grandparents in Japanese internment camps. So I immediately requested that from the library. I'm giving this 4 stars. I was watching a little bit of the live show that Gabby had hosted in February with Aaron from Booked and Busy, and they had the same thoughts as I did. This definitely is not a thriller, like, at all. It's definitely like literary fiction-esque. I really loved the relationship between Cooper and his daughter Finch. However, as the book went on, I found Cooper to be more sus, and I didn't quite agree with everything that he did. Also, the situation with Scotland, you know, and I did not like the ending. I found the epilogue to be way too short. It was only 3 pages and it spanned over like 10 years, and I definitely feel like I needed more of an explanation because this book is also only 271 pages. But I really enjoyed the story nonetheless. The book is due today, as is Ace of Spades, but I was able to renew that. However, I was unable to renew People We Meet on Vacation. The library closes at 6 today, so my goal is to read this in 6 hours. I started this at around 11:30 and I don't want to get to the library at 6, so I want to finish it around 5:30. I only read the first chapter. Not yet. I'm in the middle of the first chapter, and I finished the prologue, so I'm 20 pages in. I believe this to be Friends to Lovers. Everyone has read this. Everyone has heard of this. It was a Goodreads Choice winner. It's about Poppy and Alex, and they are best friends even though they're completely opposite. They live apart, so every summer they go on a week of vacation together. They've been doing that for like 10 years until 2 years ago something happened and they haven't spoken since. So Poppy, because she's in a creative rut, she wants to go on a vacation and convinces Alex to go on one final trip and see if that week she can fix everything. My page count for this vlog is only 926 pages, and I really like to get to 1,000. So hopefully with this reading done, and if I finish it early enough, I might read a different book at night. So we'll see how that goes. I started at 11:30, but I didn't dedicate enough time before I like actually started reading at 3, so I'm not gonna make it because it's like 5:20 right now and I'm getting kind of antsy. I haven't left the house all day, so I want to get to the library and maybe do a little bit of browsing, even though I have 5 books already out that I need to read. I am 154 pages in, so I'm like possibly halfway, a little less than halfway. I can tell like how well their relationship works, like their friendship, and I kind of love that they're opposites because I have friendships like that where I have like so few similarities. We're all like, why are we friends, you know? But we kind of like that we're all so different and it just works. They're currently on their new trip. She convinced him to take a trip with her. My favorite close proximity is happening. There's only one bed. I feel like it shouldn't be too weird because they're best friends, but also they're very awkward people, which I fucking understand. At this rate, I do think I will finish it today. Unfortunately, just not before the library closes. So let's just head there now before my little brain combusts. Hello! Before I do finish closing out the vlog, I will tell you that I picked up my hold from the library, the April book troop pick, which I'm so glad came early. I made sure to get on that hold list immediately. I was looking through graphic novels even though the selection was slim, and I stumbled upon this. This was a movie that I watched on a whim, like just because Mina raved about it, and now I'm looking forward to the sequel, so I thought, why not pick this up? I did finish People We Meet on Vacation. I think I'm giving it like 3.5 stars. My friend was right. It's very much a white story. It's like not all up that much to the hype for me. Who gets a vasectomy at 26? Something about Alex just seemed a little bit too rigid on the pages, not very much a real person. Also, I found the dad, his father, to be a really unhealthy person in terms of how he dealt with his grief. I think that's unhealthy for him, and how he like still deals with it and how everything was pushed onto Alex. Don't agree with that at all. My total page count for this vlog was 1,287. As soon as I update my Goodreads, it's gonna come up that I am fucking one book ahead because it says that I'm still on track. So let's fucking go, bitch. Let me just mark it now. Hell fucking yeah. What is this, like 2 vlogs later, 3 vlogs later? If I remember correctly what I read for this entire vlog, I finished Pieces of Her, and I think I gave that 2.75 stars. Break Your Glass Slippers by Amanda Lovelace, which I gave 2 stars. You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thao was 3.5 stars, and The Silent Woods by Kimi Cunningham Grant, which was 4 stars. I read 4 books and a half because of Pieces of Her. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you see me wearing this in the next vlog, hell yeah you did. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!